All right, so let's get right into it. Down in the Persian Gulf, a really serious incident supposedly went down involving a U.S. aircraft carrier. The thing is, there are two completely different stories about what happened. So let's try to unpack this, shall we?
I mean, this is the big question, right? Did Iran actually attack a U.S. carrier? One side is saying, absolutely yes, a major attack took place. The other is saying, no way, not even close. So what are we supposed to believe?
Okay, so first up, let's look at the story coming directly from Iran. This is the version of events that their official channels started pushing out pretty much immediately.
According to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and this was all over their state TV, their forces launched this big, coordinated attack on the USS Abraham Lincoln. And they weren't messing around either. They claimed they used the whole shebang: drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles.
But here's where it gets kind of interesting. The story started to change. On day one, the reports were super dramatic. We're talking direct hits and severe damage. You know, a real show of strength for the folks back home. But then, a few days later, the story shifted. Suddenly, it wasn't about damage anymore. The new claim was that their show of force was so intimidating, it made the carrier turn tail and retreat more than 1,000 kilometers. So it's a different claim, but still one that paints them as being in control.
Now let's flip the coin and look at the other side. As you can probably guess, the United States had a completely different version of events.
And this is where the stories just completely diverge. Iran says we attacked it or forced it back. The US says nope, not only was the carrier not hit, the projectiles weren't even in the same zip code. Iran claims they successfully pressured the US Navy. The US insists everything is business as usual, fully operational, and totally undeterred.
And the American denial was about as blunt as it gets. U.S. Central Command and the Pentagon put out a statement that made it crystal clear. None of the missiles or drones hit the carrier. The projectiles didn't even come close. So, you see what I mean? We have two completely opposite realities being presented here. But just when you think this is a simple he said, she said kind of deal, another piece of information surfaced that, honestly, just adds a whole new layer of mystery to this thing.
Yeah, this new development doesn't really fit neatly into either story, and it brings up some pretty serious strategic questions. And it has to do with a totally different kind of ship.
We're talking about these guys, mine countermeasure ships. They're super specialized vessels, and their job is exactly what you think it is. They hunt for and destroy naval mines. They are absolutely critical for keeping shipping lanes open, especially in a tense place like the Persian Gulf.
So get this. Two of these vital ships, the USS Tulsa and the USS Santa Barbara, were spotted thousands of miles away from the Persian Gulf. They were photographed just hanging out docked in Penang, Malaysia. I mean, that is a long, long way from where you'd expect them to be.
So this just begs the question, right? Why on earth were two of your key mine-clearing ships so far from their mission area? This move basically left the Gulf with maybe one or possibly even zero of these specialized vessels. Was it some kind of quiet signal, a response to a different threat we don't know about, or just a really, really suspiciously timed port visit? And the crucial part is, Washington hasn't said a word about it publicly.
To really get why this all matters, we have to kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about one incident. It's a move in a very complex, very high-stakes naval chess game.
And the chessboard, it's right here in the Strait of Hormuz. This tiny little waterway is one of the most important spots on the entire planet. A massive chunk of the world's oil has to squeeze through here. So any disruption, any conflict, can send shockwaves through the global economy. And right now, the environment there is, well, it's incredibly tense. Tensions are officially described as high. And that's not just talk, it's having a real-world effect. Commercial shipping traffic moving through the strait has already slowed down dramatically.
So let's just lay out the whole chessboard one more time. You've got Iran claiming a successful strike, but their story keeps changing. You have the US with a flat-out denial, but then it mysteriously moves these key mine-clearing ships. And all of this is happening right after US forces took out 16 Iranian boats they said were laying mines. I mean, it's pretty hard to see these events as just a coincidence, right? It really feels like a direct sequence of moves and countermoves.
Ultimately, what we're watching here isn't just a naval standoff. It's the high-stakes information war. Both sides are digging in, sticking to their stories, and the real, complete truth, well, it's kind of lost in the fog of all these conflicting claims. And that really brings us to the one big looming question. With tensions this high and so many pieces moving around the board, what really matters now is who's going to make the next move.